Just like this right here. Just like that.
Oh, yeah.
Right
Hold
here.
on.
Yeah, if I could see a shot real quick. Oh, maybe a dunk. Give me a 360 windmill. Here we go. And off the backboard. Oh, he missed. He missed.
I actually destroyed my elbow on the wall. Ow.
Sit down. This is why we talk
That really
sports and
hurt.
don't play them, son.
I destroyed that rim, though, so jot that down.
All right, folks. Well, let's move on from that atrocity there. Welcome back to Shameful Locks. First episode here after the football season. We're glad you're still with us, if you are still with us. Pretty much all that's left to talk about now is basketball. So we're going to do that. We're going to jump into some March Madness stuff here today. Gabe, I know you're still nursing your wounds there, so I'll let you.
Yeah, that not gonna lie, that really hurt. God damn, my elbow, man. I hit it on the door frame, not the actual.
Did you break
door.
the rim?
Yeah, definitely did. So,
all right.
God, that really hurt, man.
I know you probably aren't in this situation, but me personally, I have not bet since the Super Bowl. So I have not placed a single wager on anything sports related from our last episode until now. I got carried away at the Super Bowl and placed 9 parlays, upwards of 9 parlays.
Did any of them win?
Not a single one.
No.
So obviously, any locks that you saw in that episode did not hit. They weren't locks.
Yeah, I think you went 1 and 2 on your picks or whatever that you had.
Yeah, nothing good at all. Yeah, so I'm going to jump back into it this week with college basketball. This is a good time of year, though. You got this time of March usually is when the weather starts changing. It's not because it's Ohio, but we got tons of college basketball on that means something. We got St. Patrick's Day coming up. It's a cool little, it's not football season. I'm never going to claim that it's football season, but it's a nice little niche little slice of the year that's kind of enjoyable. The way we're going to do this, we're going to do it just like always. We're going to go 3 locks. Obviously, we're not going to 1 versus a 16 seed is a lock. Everyone knows that. So we want UMBC or whatever. Yeah. What was that 4 or 5 years ago? But no, we're not counting any of those games. Tried to keep it close seeded games and stuff like that. Then we're going to go ahead and pick our champion right now, kind of talk about that. And then we're going to pick out our favorite Cinderella, because everyone loves a good Cinderella story in March Madness. We're going to see, who we have doing that. And then doesn't really need to make a deep run, just one that's going to pull off a sweet upset, a lopsided upset. So Gabe, anything to add? You excited for the tournament or?
Yeah, a few things here. So I know you said that you haven't bet since the Super Bowl or whatever. I would like to add that I have not taken a day off since it's been legal. I think we're day 72 since it's been legal. I have been gambling for 72 straight days. I've told myself a few times, yeah, okay, I'll take a day off, and then I see a good line, and I'm like, well, okay. I'm actually having an insane cold streak right now. I think I'm down $500 within the last week and a half. But I mean, it's not that big of a deal because since it started, I'm up a total of $3,000. So it's not
that's just what I was going to ask. I was going to ask if you're up overall.
Yeah, overall I'm up. So I'm up 2.5K. But still, it still hurts. You lose $100 in a night. You're like, fuck.
Yeah. That's how I was on the Super Bowl.
College basketball is literally who's got the momentum. It doesn't mean shit. They could have the better coach. They could have the better players. They could have the bigger players. Who's got momentum? That's who's winning the game.
It's madness, baby. That's why it's in the name.
For my safe, low odds betting purposes, it's stupid. I hate it. Yeah. But what am I going to do? Not bet? That's stupid. So I said I've lost $500 within the last few weeks. Probably $250 of that's on college basketball. I am terrible at betting college basketball because this team, I'll just bet the under. That's 80 points in the second half. They scored 60 in the first half. No shot. Yeah. They scored 90. Everyone on the court turns into fucking Michael Jordan. It's fucking terrible. College basketball, man, it's nuts. I hate to down myself before we start giving picks here, but I've been watching a lot this year, and I think that's what made my making a bracket harder because I know there's going to be a lot of upsets there is every year, but I think my bracket has 4.
Yeah,
it's not final. It's not final, but I'm like, oh, I've watched that team play like 3 or 4 times within the last like month. I know they're not terrible. Of course,
Right.
they're going to beat the fuck out of Grand Canyon U or something like that. But here comes Grand Canyon U off some momentum bullshit.
Yeah. Off winning like a conference championship tournament or something like that. And they're rolling
Yeah.
right into the tournament. Yeah. That's what makes this so fun to watch. That's what I think. And it's like it's 4 straight days, every weekend for 2 weekends, 4 straight full days of constant live sports. Like that's awesome, dude.
I do love a good live sport.
There's a lot of good stuff out here. In years past, I've been a lot more locked in with college basketball than I have been this year. That the reason being for that usually has been that Michigan is usually in a pretty good spot to have a single digit seed. And this year they completely missed it. So, and I knew that kind of coming down I mean, you guys didn't make it either. Coming
Made
down
a
the
run in that
stretch,
tournament though.
you did that. You guys were the lowest seed to win a game or something or get it past the third round or something. I don't know. But, yeah, I'm usually a lot more locked in. I'll say that I'm a little less locked in this year, but from what I've been reading over the last couple of days, trying to catch up, there's a lot of good stuff out here, a lot of really cool storylines just in this first round, and then a lot of cool potential storylines down the road with potential matchups that we'll see. So I'll jump right into my locks. My first one I have, and I tried to stay away. I feel like in college basketball, looking at overs unders on total points is so fickle. Like that's so hard.
Yeah, good luck.
Yeah,
Good
it's
luck.
insane. It's impossible.
I wouldn't even consider looking at an over and under for a game.
Yes, I didn't go any total points at all with these locks. I with this first one though, I have West Virginia over Maryland. That's a 9 over an 8 in the first round up there in the South bracket, I believe. So I have West Virginia to cover -2.5. That's minus 102. Basically, from what I've gleaned from this one, Maryland is probably one of the weaker Big Ten teams to sneak into this playoff, and we'll get to the Big Ten as Big Ten basketball in general later in the show, but West Virginia is one of the most physical teams in this tournament, and Maryland throughout the year has been very up and down as far as really just their effort that they've shown on the court at all. So, Bob Huggins, the coach over there at West Virginia, he likes to get it done, likes to play physical, and that's how his teams always are. And I think you see West Virginia kind of pulling away with that one. Next one I had is Utah State, who we'll get to Utah State a little bit later too. Utah State versus Missouri. I like Utah State to cover. They're the favorites, -1.5. I like them covering that as well. That's -110. Utah State is actually coached by the same coach that coached that UMBC team, the 16 seed that beat West Virginia 4 or 5 years ago. That huge upset. Utah State is the 10 seed. Missouri's the 7 seed. So like this is, it's one of those closer seeds that like it can go either way. It's like that 8-9 matchup. It's kind of the same thing. But yeah, I like Utah State in that one to cover 1.5.
Utah State is the 10 seed, right? And Missouri's the 7.
Correct.
Okay,
yep.
Cool.
And then finally, last but not least, I have Arkansas money line over Illinois. Reason being, Illinois this entire season has not been able to really win on the road. They have some really good wins at home. That's how they bought their way into this tournament. But their road record is something atrocious. I don't have the numbers in front of me, but it was, low single digit wins and double digit, barely double digit losses on the road. That's where pretty much all their losses came from, were on the road. I don't like that, even in a neutral site like that, like it's going to be in the tournament. I still don't like that. It's technically still on the road. I hate playing against trends, so I'm going to take Arkansas money line on that one. That's an 8 versus 9 as well. I can't remember which one is which. That's -1.
I think Arkansas is the 9 seed and Illinois is the 8. I think so. I could be wrong because I did my bracket today. Yeah, so my locks here. Like I said, this is probably the year I've paid the most attention to college basketball. but I feel like that's going to hurt me in the March Madness tournament because I think I know what happens. Like, oh yeah, I know that team's good. Because usually I just blindly pick upsets and it actually where it's like a 50-50 shot. But like now I'm like, I know that team doesn't suck. I've watched them.
Yeah.
Why would they lose to Dick Nobody? And then they lose to Dick Nobody. Mm-hmm. But yeah, first lock here, I have Indiana money line at -182 from FanDuel. They are the 4 seed playing 13 seed Kent State. Kent State, we all know them and love them here in Ohio, but no, you're not beating Indiana. Indiana's. I'm not saying Indiana's like a great team, but like you're putting a MAC school versus a Big Ten school. The Big Ten school is going to win 9 or 10 times,
and that's been a matchup that a lot of people on TV, analysts, everyone is saying that that's a potential upset. I haven't really seen that. I watched Indiana a few times this year, naturally being a Michigan fan, and they're a pretty solid all around team. Like Michigan played them twice, got beat pretty handedly both times. And I don't see them losing to a Kent State. Kent State can be, great, and obviously they could be on a run, like you were saying earlier, and make something happen that none of us see. But
I just don't see it. And again, who knows? But these are my locks, damn it. And I pick Indiana. Next off, we got Duke, number 5 seed, versus Oral Roberts, the 12th seed. I'm taking Duke -6.5 at 110 on FanDuel. I've watched Duke play a handful of times, and I think we'll talk about Duke later on for me. But I think Duke could make a good run in this tournament. They're a tremendous defensive team. I kind of thought they were going to have a down year because they have a brand new coach for the first time.
Coach K, yeah.
However many years, and they've responded. They've been solid this year. I watched them play Virginia in the ACC championship, right?
Mm-hmm.
And God, what a low scoring game! I think it was like 37-24 at halftime or something like that. It was something crazy low.
Yeah.
That might even be higher than what it actually was. But yeah, Duke's like they're not like super talented on offense, but they're gonna stop anybody from scoring. Is kind of their thing. Their defense is just huge. But yeah, I think that's a pretty easy cover. It's only 6.5 versus Oral Roberts. Yet I know about Oral Roberts, but fuck them. I think this might be a more just fuck Oral Roberts pick here. Honestly.
Fair enough, and that's fine. Yeah, Duke is a very interesting kind of thing to look at this year, and we'll get to that later. But I do like the cut of Duke's jib this year. Yeah,
exactly. And that being a 5 seed is kind of nuts to me because they're the ACC champs, and the ACC is usually pretty decent. They had Virginia. Virginia's not a bad team by any means.
Virginia's having a down year this year. They're not terrible by any means, but they are having a down year to what they're usually.
Well, let's get to my third pick, Virginia. Virginia's the number 4 seed. They're playing number 13 seed Furman. I'm going to be honest on this one. I went ahead and take Virginia -5.5 at -110, mostly because I know Virginia doesn't suck, and I've never heard of Furman. So 6 points versus a team I've never heard of. If they were any good, I would have heard of them by now.
I like how I like how simple some of these picks are for you, and how one side. I love that, dude. I have a buddy that has a little daughter, and he has her do a bracket every year, and she goes off of like whatever the mascot was, whichever mascot sounds cooler. So he goes, yeah, it's the Michigan Wolverines versus the Ohio Bobcats. She'll go, ooh, Bobcats sound cooler. I'm taking the Bobcats.
Yeah, I would take that too.
This year, yeah,
Furman, I actually don't know Furman. I've literally never heard of them. They're a 13 seed, and I know Virginia doesn't suck, and a lot of people are actually picking Virginia to make a deep run here. So 6 points, I think they're going to cover the 5.5 spread there. I don't think that's too hard to ask.
I agree, and that's definitely I heard that kind of brought up as an upset possibility as well, but Virginia. Hey, well, it's at a point now where like they take every game that's the 5-13 or 12-5 or 13-4, all of these games that are in that kind of middle area, and immediately start saying, oh, this could be an upset. This could be an upset, just because that'd be the coolest.
Yeah. I mean, they need something to talk about until Thursday.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. We need something to talk about.
I'll definitely go ahead and parlay these, just those 3 picks, and see what we get, because minus 110. I'm not trying to bet anything at minus 110.
You want to talk Cinderellas, or you want to talk champions first?
Let's go champs.
Champs.
I'll let you start here.
You let me kick it off. All right. So I got the Baylor Bears out of Waco, Texas, the 3 seed, coming back and winning 2 championships in, what will this be? 3 years? 2 and 3 or 2 and 4? When did they win last? They won in 2021, right? Everyone in the Big 12 this year, coming out of the Big 12, is looking good. Kansas, obviously a 1 seed, defending national champions. I like the road that Baylor has, to reach that final game. They have a very experienced backcourt in LJ Cryer and Adam Flagler. Flagler was actually on that national championship team. Cryer came that season after. Their front court's nothing to laugh at either, but that experience in the backcourt is something that really comes into play this time of year, when mentally and physically a lot of guys are shutting down. That front court in basketball is a lot like your quarterback in football. They're the ones up there calling plays. They're expected to be leaders. And when you have that experience, especially a guy that's been to and won a Final Four in his career, especially when you have something like that, that's something that's invaluable to have this time of year. So I am going with the Baylor Bears, the 2023 NCAA champion.
We're in Big Ten country here. It's no secret to anybody over here. Which means I've watched a lot of Big Ten basketball, just because you go to a bar and there's always them on, like,
Amen,
that Big Ten basketball on. So that's probably the teams I've watched the most this year. But I feel like I've seen Purdue play probably like 8 to 9 games this year, and every game they just look like the best team out there. Like, nobody really can compete super closely with them. So I have Purdue being the champ, which is, I mean, I know it's tough, but they're a 1 seed, Gabe. Like, come on, that's so boring. That's no fun. But the last few years, high seeds have won the tournament. I have Purdue at plus 1,200 to win it all, which I was really surprised how high that is, man. Mm-hmm. Which I get it. You got to win a lot of games to get there. But, like, if you're the 1 seed, if you're one of the top 4 teams, it's still plus 1,200. Damn.
Yeah.
Sorry. But yeah, I don't know. They have that Zach Edey guy, and he's nuts, man. He seems kind of like a Jokic or an Embiid kind of guy. Just like no one can stop him.
Dude's like 7'4".
Yeah, I know.
Did you see?
He literally goes like this.
You see the video of him cutting down the net at the Big Ten championship game, like without even getting on the ladder, just like reaching up. It was like the top part of the net too that just connects to the rim, and he's sitting here snipping it with scissors. Like, this guy's tall.
Yeah, that guy's a monster, man. If someone can show me that they can stop him, sure, you'll probably beat them. But I have yet to see a game where someone's like, all right, we took Zach Edey out of the game without fouling him. It's a Jokic or Embiid kind of thing is the way I kind of see it. As long as he's going and not hurt, I think Purdue's going to keep chugging along. Boilermakers, baby.
Sure. I hate that pick because I have them losing pretty early on. All right, folks, we're going to talk Cinderellas now. Everyone loves a good Cinderella. VCU from way back in the day, back in 2011. UMBC beating Virginia 5-6 years ago. Everyone loves these stories. We're going to try and get ahead of the curve and tell you which one will make a big upset or make a deep run. Either or. Without further ado, I'll get us started. And I have a special way of introducing mine. And that's how I'll announce that I have the University of Drake beating Miami. Beating Miami in the first round, a 12 seed over a 5 seed. That is a big upset area right there. Is that seed relation 12 over a 5? Miami has sustained a few injuries, one to a starter and a couple to some role players over the past month that they do not expect to have return during the tournament, at least for this first game. On the other hand, you have a Drake team that is well-coached, disciplined. They have the coach's son, Tucker DeVries, I believe is how you pronounce it. But kids like a NBA prospect, they say he's a Doug McDermott type. Which after watching like 2 highlights of him, I can draw that conclusion. But yeah, I really like Drake to at least beat Miami. That means they're going to see Indiana in the second round, or Kent State, I guess. But no,
Fuck you.
I don't like them getting past the second round. Would be cool to see, but I have Drizzy Drake beating Miami in the first round. That is my Cinderella pick of this tournament. So you have 2 Cinderellas.
So I have one where I just don't see this team going anywhere, and one where, okay, if you want me to pick a Cinderella team, this is my Cinderella team to like make it to the at least Sweet 16. We'll start with that. So I got Duke probably making it to the Sweet 16, where they will lose to my champion Purdue. I looked into that. Because I even thought, I was like, damn, Duke to the Elite 8. Wait a minute, no, that can't happen because I picked Purdue. So that can't happen, just won't. So Duke, man, I don't know. Like I've already talked about them. I think they're a good defensive team. I think they're like well disciplined. That they don't make stupid bonehead plays. They're not great on the offensive side, but when you don't let the team score any points, you don't need to score a ton of points yourself. Sweet 16 for them, I think was like it was like plus 104 or something like that, or plus 108, something similar, small, but in the plus, nevertheless. But one team I want to talk about that people won't stop sucking off, which I get it because of the record, but like if you look at who they've played, really, you think they're good? Houston. They're losing within the first 2 rounds.
First 2 rounds.
They are the betting favorite at plus 500 to win the entire tournament. But as a football man, this is the equivalent of saying Cincinnati is going into the playoffs and winning it all. I don't see it. Houston is not built for this. They're what division is that? Is that the Atlantic? No, that's not Atlantic. What division are they with Cincinnati?
The American.
American, thank you. But man, I look uneducated as hell, not even knowing the division they're in. But that's because I don't know the division because they don't play anybody. They lost to Memphis in their American tournament. Memphis, you lost. I'm not saying anything bad about Memphis. Memphis is an 8 seed in the tournament, and Memphis isn't a bad team. But like,
right,
this is like the same argument I have to deal with college football, and this could burn me completely. Houston could win it all. Now that I say this, but the way I look at it is like, it's the same argument with like UCF. UCF went undefeated in college football. They should be up and play with the big boys. Yeah, where they're going to get curb stomped. I think if Houston went and played Duke, they probably lose. Now, you could also pull the argument like, now Houston beat Virginia, like I think, was it December or January? They beat them like 69-61 or something like that. Great win. But what have you done recently? You lost to Memphis in your American championship.
It's a college basketball. The college basketball tournament especially is so dependent on, like you were saying earlier, that momentum heading into the tournament. It's very, fickle in that way that, you could have a great start to your season, get up like this, and then come into the tournament on a downslide and carry that momentum right into there and lose to somebody you shouldn't, and vice versa. As we've seen every seed beat every seed at some point in this tournament over the past 20 years. We've seen every seed beat every seed.
Yep.
So nothing is impossible. That's what's so fun about this is that, it's all over the place. I do agree with that valuation of Houston. However, I can't get behind it quite as much. I do think, the committee is pretty good at, deciphering who should be a 1 seed, 2 seed, and all of that. I do think they put a little too much.
They've only lost 3 games all year, or maybe 4. Which are, based off that record, you have to make them a 1 seed. I get it.
Yeah.
But do I think they're going anywhere? No.
Right.
They're going to face real teams now.
You're saying they're losing this weekend?
They're not.
Well, first or second round. They're either losing to, who do they play in the first round?
They're not losing. They're going to play the 16 seed. That's right up their alley.
Yeah.
So they'll curb stomp them. I think I think it was Iowa. I had beaten them.
Auburn and Iowa. Yeah, I said they play the winner of Auburn and Iowa. Wow, that's a bold statement.
And even if you, this is another thing I'm going. This is just my bracket, but if I'm going for betting wise, you can bet on team to make Elite Eight, yes or no. Houston to not make the Elite Eight plus 102.
I like that.
Which Elite Eight's pretty damn deep in tournament, man. You got to win 1 to get to 32, 2 to get to 16. I mean, that's 3 wins.
Mm-hmm.
That's true. Not the easiest thing.
No. Plus, when you got to play 2 games in 2 days this weekend, and then you have a quick turnaround to face whoever you're playing next Thursday or Friday. Yeah, I mean, it's grueling.
Yeah. And I don't buy into the hype. It's the betting favorite. Everyone is hammering Houston right now in the betting market, and I get it. You want to hammer the top dog, but
they're not even the number 1 overall. Alabama's the number 1 overall.
Are they?
Mm-hmm. At large,
that's weird to me. I think Alabama's good, but I don't think they're that good either.
And see, this is a good conversation. They were having this, on TV earlier. I think Alabama is the most talented team, without a doubt. One, they've battled injuries, as a lot of these teams are, as now we've brought it up with a few teams. But on top of that, too, they don't always seem that cohesive at times. Miscommunications here and there. But and teams that have played them close, teams that have either beat them or played them close, have done so being wildly aggressive and turning them over. That's why I kind of like this idea, this possibility of a West Virginia Alabama matchup in the second round, with West Virginia coming out of that 8-9 game right below them to play them, with West Virginia being the physical team that they are, with a very experienced coach, mildly experienced team, nothing crazy there really that wise. But if anyone's going to disrupt them early, I think it's going to be West Virginia that second round.
West Virginia scores a lot of points, man.
Yeah, and I think that'd be a lot of fun to watch. That game is something you want to keep your eye on, without a doubt. All right, folks, we are running out of time here. Gabe, real quick, Big Ten has 8 teams in the tournament this year. The Big Ten has not won a national championship in over 20 years. Do you think they finally get that monkey off their back this year? Yes or no?
I have Purdue winning, so yes.
You think and believe?
All yes.
Right. Well, with that being said, folks, enjoy the first weekend of March Madness. Tons of basketball, tons of live sports. You also have St. Patrick's Day this weekend, which is always good. We're big fans of that here at the Talk of Shame. We will have a very special presentation for that. Stay tuned for that coming here soon. But we're in basketball season now, postseason basketball season. We're having a lot of fun. We're going to win some money. Gabe, any last words?
Pray for my elbow.
Pray for his elbow. With that being said, for Tim Triplett and Gabe Acosta, the first week of the NCAA tournament, we'll see you later.